So the question is, I'm bound to be infected. And we've heard those numbers that potentially 30 to 70% of us will be infected at some point or another and have symptoms. So if I'm bound to be infected, should I just get it over with now? And I wanted to pass this on to Lisa, Dr. Barrett, and maybe you can give us a bit of insight into this question.
Thanks for that. I've heard this question so frequently. It's almost like, if anyone out there is listening, back in the old days when everyone wanted to do the chickenpox parties, people think, if we're all going to get it, we may as well just get this over with. And certainly that's not the advice that I would advise for a multitude of reasons. And as you said, if you just want to get this done and over with, I would suggest later. And that's the whole point of flattening the curve. We may run into this at some point as a population, but you as a person don't have to run into it on the first round when nobody has any immunity. And so thinking about that and changing it from, well, if I'm going to get it at some point, I might as well do it now, to, you know what, I want to do everything I can to shift this into a later time point, that would be absolutely great. And so when I'm talking about that, the other bits that I want people to think about are the fact that we've known about this virus for 3 months. And that's less than 1 month old in people time. And so as scientists, as physicians, as people in the community, we're still learning about how this virus works, how it works with people. It's been in animals probably a long time, but it's new to us. And so we're going to gain a ton of knowledge over the next 6 months, even before the next respiratory season, perhaps even access to new medications or therapies, and eventually, hopefully, a vaccine. And so if I get it, or if I get exposed to it, I want it to be later, when I have access to other therapies and options that not only give me a chance to have a little bit of immunity around me, but also that give me options to other therapeutics.
Can you speak a little bit about other therapeutics, things that you may have heard might be coming down the pike, and how long do you think it might take?
Right. So there have been multiple different tiny studies, and in the world of study robustness, or how good these studies are, they're not great. Again, they've been done by folks as things come up. People have tried medications that are either specifically for or not specifically for this virus. And so the first thing that was tried was an HIV medication that's an antivirus medication that may potentially work against this virus, called lopinavir/ritonavir. And that's been tried. Whether it works or not, we're not quite certain yet. That it remains to be seen. And certainly the WHO, along with pretty much most local groups around the world who are treating people, are trying to use this medication. One of the other medications that's a direct agent or a direct antiviral that has come up is called remdesivir. That's an investigational medication that is not approved yet anywhere in the world for anything. And it's being used in clinical trials at the moment to see if it actually reduces replication of the virus. And then there are other medications, and many people on this webinar would be familiar with this concept of immune modulation. And so many of the symptoms, side effects, and severe outcomes associated with this virus aren't because the virus replicates, it's your immune response to the virus that actually damages the lung. And that's something we call ARDS, or acute respiratory distress syndrome. And so it may be that ramping down the immune system in different ways from the way we ramp down the immune system potentially for IBD may actually be useful when people get the disease. And so there are trials going on around the world about different biologic medications and immune modulatory medications, including Plaquenil, IL-6 inhibitors, and potentially IL-12/23 inhibitors that may actually be useful. But honestly, everyone, don't run out if you ever find out you have a mild disease and you've got COVID and you've got a bit of a cough and nothing else, don't ask for any of these medications. We don't know if they work yet, but they may be ones that are on the horizon for the future.
That's a useful